Hey, everybody, and welcome to Salute to the Sickos. My name is Marcus, and with me today is Taylor. Taylor, how you doing today?
Hi, Marcus. Hi, everybody. Doing fine, thank you.
Good. So wrestling. eh, Usually, everybody has a long history of wrestling. When did you start watching wrestling?
Very much as a child. My grandfather, when I was a boy, used to record all the pay-per-views for like WrestleMania 1, and then we'd watch tapes of the CCCW wrestling in Texas with the Von Erichs and Ric Flair.
Oh,
And so I very much was introduced to the WWE early on, and Texas Championship Wrestling early on through my grandpa because he just had the tapes. He was a early adapter of like cable hacking and stuff. So he
yeah.
had all the feeds and everything, and we had those recorded. And he figured out how to scramble them and record them, and so we had those recorded. We could watch them all year.
Awesome. I remember going to Blockbuster and watching and trying to hunt down videos
Oh yeah,
of pay-per-views and stuff and watching them. So uh, that was.
ROH tape trading was a pain in the butt.
I never got into Ring of Honor, but I always watched WWE and WCW pay-per-views when I could sneak and find them actually
Hmm.
in Blockbusters. But those were the days when Blockbuster was big.
Yeah,
Um, so, so I like to ask this everybody because it helps me get a feel of what people go through mind, how they like wrestling, and what they like. Can you talk about your Mount Rushmore, starting with how you picked your Mount Rushmore, and then name your wrestlers?
I'm doing it chronologic through my life. So,
Okay.
like when I was a kid, Bret Hart was my dude. I love the Hart Foundation. I always loved his technical wrestling, how he always seemed to be a thinking man's wrestler, right? He always seemed to work ahead and know what to do. And then as I got older, I realized, no, he's a really safe guy to work with, right? And I appreciated the technicality of how he keeps his opponents safe. And once I got older and understood that kayfabe's fake and like it's not real, right? Like what he was doing to protect his opponents and all that. And the older I got, and the more I realized he stood the test of time, the more I go back and I go, that was the man, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's the first and obvious on my Mount Rushmore. But what really got me going again, because I got sick of the Attitude Era. I didn't like the sexism of it. I didn't like the backstage hijink stuff all the time instead of the wrestling. I got really into like TNA and or Ring of Honor. And so my second, I put Samoa Joe up there. He was in both.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see him live in Kansas City along with Bryan Danielson, who'd be my third. The American, what he was doing his American Dragon stick, and he was like in his late 20s or early 30s. Wrestling with Roddy Strong in Kansas City, like that was a cool event. I got to meet Ric Flair. Like it was a cool event to get to go to. 2006 Kansas City Ring of Honor, and so I got to watch Austin Aries. I got to watch Tyler Black. I got to watch Bryan Danielson, Roderick Strong, and Samoa Joe, of course, who I'd also seen later on TNA wrestling, and he was just one of my favorite guys from forever. Then Danielson has always been a technical wizard, even as a kid. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's always just been a really fun, exciting wrestler to watch. I about cried during his retirement stuff in AEW. Like I've gotten to watch that guy when I was 18, like when I'm in my 20s, he was about the same age as me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of a trip to see his whole development from when he started to when he didn't, and see him on the Indies 2006, trading those tapes with my buddies or early like pirating stuff on the internet and finding ROH cards, and then he's on TV on TNA, and then he's on TV again in WWE, and then he finishes that with AEW. Like beautiful. And
Yeah.
then for the modern era, it's a toss up between Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay. I'd put
Okay.
either of them. Like,
Okay. Well, I've had some people put 6 on there before, so.
oh yeah,
uh,
I'll be nice to say 4, but yeah, Kenny Omega has been so instrumental for AEW and for Japan, and just
mhm.
the Okada matches in Japan, which I've gone back to watch when I can, and he's just the most legendary wrestler to never be in the main event, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
So I want to touch on something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I both went to All in Texas, correct?
I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't.
I watched it. I've been to
Oh,
2
okay.
live events, one in Tulsa and one in Culver City, Arlington.
I've been to Tulsa one before, but I went to All In. I thought there was someone else from the, that went, but
Somebody did. I watched it. I mean, that was one of my first introductions to
yeah, yeah,
AEW. Was All In, I think,
I'm,
2004.
so, yeah. So I went there and said, but you say you've been
Hmm.
to a show. What's the experience like for you at a show?
I mean, so I have MMA and the Ring of Honor show to compare it to, right? And
Hmm.
so comparing it to those, it reminded me a lot of the Ring of Honor show. There's constant matches. Like, I don't want to go to beer. I don't want to pee because I'm going to miss something. Like, fitting in ring. Lots of matches, a lot of crowd work. And what was really nice was a combination of how nice the audience was and then how generous and nice the wrestlers were with the audience. And seeing how they interacted with my son, like Hangman interacted with my son at the show, was a beautiful thing to watch. Joe, he was in the way, and so Joe actually picked him up and moved him aside quite gently because he was in the way of a spot. I remember yelling at him like, "Boy, he's gonna run you out!" And Joe picked him up, and just said, "It's okay, kid," and put him to the side and jumped over the side of the retaining wall for the fans. And so, yeah, I mean, just the vibe of it. Like, everyone smelled nice. Everyone was polite. I told the story on the Discord. Jack Perry gets thrown into the audience, and he smells great. Like, all the baby faces and some of the heels come out to, glad hands and dab people up and let us take pictures. And Tony Khan's out there doing it too, the owner. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see. And that was my vibe of the shows. Is just, it seemed family friendly. It seemed clean, even though it's hardcore stuff and people were swearing. And like, it seemed nice and pleasant. And everyone seemed like that, from the production guys to the wrestlers to Tony Khan to the merch folks. I didn't have a bad experience with literally anyone. No sickos, nothing. It was fun.
So I want to bring something up. You said you brought your kid. Is that a lot of people's gripe about AEW is it gets bloody sometimes? Does that bother you or your kid?
It bothers him. Yep. Factually, I grew up with it, and then I did MMA for a long time, and I was also I spent a lot of time on a cattle farm, so death and blood are part of life, and so, it doesn't bother me. And of course, I watched ECW as part of the tape trading stuff when it was out, and so I was very used to that kind of hardcore stuff. And I had seen some of it on like Battlezone and GCW when Moxley was in there at Curiosity on YouTube, and so I didn't like super get bothered by it. No. And I did MMA fighting. Just injuries and blood and stuff like that to me are normal. And so it's, if you hit somebody with a spike to the head, they're going to bleed a lot. Like, that's just how nature works. It's physics. I mean, I appreciate the artistry and the beauty of the violence, if that makes sense. It's just what it is. I know what they're doing to their bodies. I know they're doing it as safely as they can, but they're also putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment and telling a story with it. And so I just appreciate and respect the artistry of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get twisted up in it and stuff, but I don't think AEW is geared towards kids, and I think that's what people need to understand. It is a show they can watch, but it's not something that's geared toward them, and they do have blood and violence.
Exactly. I mean, my boy is middle school aged, so he's not saying anything that he doesn't see or hear in class. Like, it's not crazy. And then, of course, what's going on in the world and so on, and not that crazy to hear it. And so it's just what it is. I mean, I'm a teacher. I understand. And, I don't force him to watch it. If he wants to hide his head, that's okay.
Yeah.
But, like...
Yeah. There's been some times where I've flinched myself. But let's start about your AEW fan. Did you start in 2019 or?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was a full hardcore MMA fan for years. I just really didn't like how the UFC paid their fighters. And so I got to the point where I didn't want to financially support the UFC at all. And then I just stopped watching anything. And, it felt like a hole. I didn't have any sports to follow. I wasn't following anything for a while. And then a buddy of mine invites me over to watch this pay-per-view, which for an org I'd never heard of at the time, which was All In 2024. And so he makes a dinner. Of course, they're really long pay-per-views. I had no idea, and I was blown away. The wrestling was top caliber. Like, everything was fast. There was constant matches. And I was like, yo, what the heck is this stuff? Like, this is good. And that turned me on to AEW. And by the time Revolution 2025 came around, which has my favorite match on it, which is the Ospreay-Fletcher cage match, I was hooked. I was done. They told the story with Mariah May and Tony Storm. That was beautiful. And then that cage match was I've never seen anything like that. Like, it utterly blew me away. And I was like, any org that can make this thing happen, let me look at it. And then I come to find out, okay, I can agree with the economics of this organization. Okay, they do treat the wrestlers well. Okay, cool. Everyone seems to be happy to be there, and everyone who's not is trying to use it as a stepping stone to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, the ethics of AEW's business really drew me in as a person to say, I will spend money on this organization.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your favorite AEW match?
That one. Fletcher versus Ospreay, Revolution 2025, that cage match.
Yeah. I remember that one pretty well.
Spanish Fly off the top of that cage.
Yeah,
I
those
just
two constantly trying to outdo each other. That's a
I,
vicious cycle
I, I
to be
just
stuck
watched
in.
that match with my mouth agape for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Just going, how are they not dead? Like, what?
yeah, those two are crazy together. I, I fully enjoy AEW, but there are some things that I think need to change. What do you think is something that you could see changing in that you think will help grow AEW?
Well, I don't know how much we're going to talk about ROH, but ROH needs more stories, flatly.
Mm-hmm.
They need more built rivalries. They've got a lot of really good wrestlers. They need to start building stories out for them. They do it a little bit, but not enough. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my big gripe with ROH. But you asked about AEW. So AEW is generally good on all cylinders. I do wish we'd get more explanatory vignettes when they have big character changes. Like
Yes.
I know who Tommaso is because I'm a wrestling nerd now. But like, if I'm just turning on the show and he shows up, who is Psycho Killer? What does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Leo Rush is Blackheart. Okay, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
what he was normal 6 months ago. Like, what changed? Right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't get a lot of those explanations, and they don't often build it into the ring. They're good at building rivalries, but they don't build your character stuff very well. And I
Yeah.
wish we had more of that.
There's been a lot of Japanese wrestlers that's come over, and I'm like, who is this, Tony? We don't know wrestling like people think we do, and they need to. Like when Will Ospreay first came over, I'd never heard of Will Ospreay. He came in, I think he debuted in Kansas City, and I'm like, I've heard of him, but they need to do more packages and stuff like that, and I totally agree with that. Um, I think we have a pretty stacked roster right now. But who do you think needs to be on TV more?
Brody King, boost him to
Okay.
the moon. That's my boy. Brody King all day, all night.
Okay.
Oh, I love that guy. I mean, I liked him when he was in House of Black. He caught my eye, and I'm like, that guy looks rad. And then I started listening to God Take because I'm a metal nerd anyway, and I was like, oh, he's in a hardcore band? My dude, we're part of the same clan. And
Uh-huh.
then he's just a fun big man to watch.
Yeah,
And the Evolve Fight shirts and all that stuff are fun too. I was like, okay,
he's
I'm down.
he's really good. Yeah, yeah, I really like him and stuff. He's came a long way. I'm glad that the House of Black has dissolved and he can do his own thing. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, when Buddy Matthews comes back, I hear he's working his way back.
Yeah.
That he'll be able to do his own thing. I think they were held back by Alistair, and I have nothing against Malachi, or whatever you want to call him, but I think he had bigger plans for himself,
Yeah.
and that ended up biting him in the butt.
Well, the locker room basically has said that too. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever we think. If you're not jiving with the locker room and they
yeah,
think that, then regardless of what we think, like that's a bigger deal. You got to work with those guys, trust those guys, and so on.
yeah. I totally agree. Is anyone else who you? I love Tony, but I think he has some pet projects that he could probably release. Do you have anybody that really doesn't fit in to AEW? They think maybe would be better off going to New Japan or going to NXT or something.
I don't know. Like the Fed style is so derivative and like samey, unless they're like a
Mm-hmm.
next or a WWE guy, that doesn't occur to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know New Japan's roster is just hurting people. So everyone's
Yeah.
leaving New Japan. So it's like, I don't know who to send out. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are wrestlers I don't super like to watch. Like, I don't like their moveset or I don't like their style. Like
Yeah.
Shifter or Kingston or Shane, what's his last name? Come on, brain. Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I don't think they're bad enough to banish them from their job. And
Yeah.
clearly they have a fan base and people like them. I don't have
Yeah.
to. It's different strokes for different folks, right?
See, yes. See, for me, I really think Hook needs to go to New Japan and actually
Yeah,
wrestle outside of
he needs a
his,
different move set.
well,
Like,
but yeah, he needs to repackage and
like,
quit getting babied, in my opinion. But
yeah, he's not big enough and strong. He should be high flying. Like, like he's too small to be doing suplexes and act like he's 250. He's not.
yeah, he's not. He's one of them that I think there are some people out there who I think could probably use some excursions over there
Shafir,
and
I think,
just
would be a good one too.
who's that?
Marina Shafir.
Yes, I really I don't I like the spot that she's at in the card in the Death Riders, but I really think she needs to hone her skills a little bit too.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
so
Harley, I also wonder if she wouldn't benefit. I love Harley, and I like seeing her on TV, but she's always talking about getting more reps and more training. 6 months in Stardom sure got Anna Jay squared away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
or however long she was there, years, I don't remember. But like, it's helped other wrestlers. It's like
yeah,
maybe the newbies
yeah,
could use it.
I fully agree with that one too. So I like to to round off each show with you giving a message to AEW fans and possibly new ones, because there's been a lot lately of people watching Double or Nothing and saying, "Wow, I kind of like this. Where should I start? What should I do?" So, what's your message to the AEW fandom?
I mean, I keep telling my son this, so I'll tell you guys the same thing. We live in a golden age of wrestling right now. We have great indies. AEW is great. People still like the Fed. Like, I'm finding out about CMLL. I'm trying to watch more CMLL, more New Japan, more Maple Leaf, more Rev Pro, right? Like, I'm very aware of just how much great wrestling there is out there, and AEW is the best. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're lucky to have found this in this day and age. Because I remember looking out at the monopoly of yesteryear and being like, I'm going to have to find something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember that's why I got into MMA. Like, I didn't like WWE. TNA was gone. And I was like, okay, this fight sport's cool. I'm going to do this now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, we live in a really good age for wrestling in general. And then AEW is the creme de la creme. They put on better matches than anybody else. And it's just what it is. And so I
Mm-hmm.
tell my son, and I'll tell the audience this too, like, you guys are lucky. We're in a good age for wrestling. It is lucky that I get to sit down and watch a 7-hour pay-per-view and it's all bangers all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's just statistically impossible. Double or Nothing was that.
Mm-hmm.
Revolution 2025 was that. All In's that. Like, it's just what it is. I haven't seen a pay-per-view where I generally can't say every match was rock solid.
Yeah.
I didn't like the ending or Double or Nothing, like,
Mm-hmm.
flatly, and that's okay. I got into an argument about the Discord. Like, it's it's what it
Yeah.
is. It got too heated, but like, still, it's just fans arguing about something they're passionate about, right? It's not like I'm
Yes.
not going to watch Dynamite. It's not like I don't ever want to watch an MJF match. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the ending to go a different way, and I
Yeah.
disagreed.
I yeah, I can see that there's a lot of stuff of booking lately that I'm like, why are we doing it this way?
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is, and Tony's doing it the right way. He's getting Booker of the Year, so
What do we know? Yeah.
I can't complain. Well, Taylor, I enjoyed having you on. Thanks for coming on,
Thanks, Parker.
and I will talk to you again, hopefully.
All right. Well, I'm always on the Discord if you need me.
All
Good
right,
talking to you. Thank you.
bye bye.
All right.